Good morning. In the last class, we have discussed the modulation of PUCCH. That is coding for hybrid automatic repeat request acknowledgement, coding for the rank indication, and coding for CQI or pre-coding matrix indicator. And also, we have discussed the PUCCH formats 1A and 1B, 2A, 2B, and also discussed the resource mapping. So, have any doubts the resource mapping or anything? So today we'll discuss the uplink reference signals. So here in the free uplink reference signals, so here the LTE there are two types of reference signals which is defined in the uplink. So first one is demodulation reference signal and the sounding reference signal. So in the demodulation reference signals, so here the signals are transmitted on the uplink resources which are assigned to the user equipment. So are for the coherent demodulation of data and control information at the E node B. So here as the PUCCH channel cannot be transmitted simultaneously. So with PUSCH, so there are demodulation reference signals defined for each of them. So that is there are demodulation reference signals for the PUSCH and the demodulation reference signals for the PUCCH channel. So in the sound reference signals, which are wideband, so here the sound reference signals are wideband reference signals for the E node B to measure the uplink channel quality information for the uplink resource allocation. So here these channels are not associated. So these signals are not associated with the transmission of PUSCH or PUCCH channels. So here the reason for having the two types of reference signals in the uplink is because, so here unlike the downlink, the demodulation reference signals in the uplink are only transmitted on the subcarriers which are assigned to the user equipment and therefore cannot provide the sufficient wideband channel quality information for the resource allocation. So here particularly over the resource blocks that are not allocated to the user equipment. So here unlike the downlink reference signals in the uplink cannot be transmitted at the same time as the user data. So here instead of that the uplink reference signals are time division multiplexed with the uplink data on the assigned subcarriers. So here in this way the power level of the reference signals can be different from that of the data symbol as they are transmitted over the different SCFDMA symbols. So the PAPR is that is power to average power ratio. Peak to average power ratio is minimized over each of the SCFDMA symbol. So in that we have first the reference signal sequence. So here in the reference signal sequence, so both the demodulation reference signals and the sounding reference signals are defined by a cyclic shift of the same base sequence. So here both the demodulation reference signal and the sounding reference signals are defined by a cyclic shift of the same base sequence. So here the generation of the base sequence depends on the reference signal reference signal sequence length, that is which is MSC RS is equal to MNSC RB. With M is between 1 and N RB max into UL. I will draw the equation. So here the generation of the base sequence depends on the reference signal sequence length, which is that is MSB RB, sorry RS, MSB RS equal to small m NSC RB with M is in between less than 1 and between NRB max UL max comma UL. So where M is the size of the resource block assigned to the user equipment. So here if M is greater than or equal to 3, so here if M is greater than or equal to 3, so here the user equipment is assigned 3 resource blocks or more. So it means it is assigned with 3 resource blocks or more. So here the base sequence is based on the prime length of Z of two sequences that are cyclically extended to the desired length. So next for M is equal to 1, M is equal to 1 or M is equal to 2. So here the base sequence is of the form that is e power. Base sequence is of the form that is e power j psi into n pi by 4 where n is between 0 and that is MSC RS minus 1, and the value of so here the multiple reference signals can be created by the different shifts of the same base sequence. So the Z of two sequence has the property of cyclic shifted versions of the same sequence are orthogonal to each other by generating the reference signals in such manner which will reduce the intercell interference for the reference signal transmission. So here the orthogonality of the reference signals with the same cell is obtained via the frequency domain multiplexing. So here as the reference signals for the each user equipment are only carried in the resource blocks which are assigned to the user equipment. So here the reference signals in the uplink is always a user equipment. This is about reference signal sequence. So next we have resource mapping and demodulation of reference signals. So that we'll discuss in the next class. So now we'll discuss the module 3 assignment questions. It is visible.
Yes, sir.
So here the first question we have discussed the basic design principles followed in the designing LTE specifications. So depending on the marks, you need to answer. If they ask for 10 marks, you should answer. You should define and you should explain all the design principles. So what are the design principles? So there are 7 design principles. That is network architecture, data rate and latency. So third one is performance requirements. So in that we have spectrum efficiency, mobility, coverage, and MBMS service. And fourth one is radio resource management. And fifth one is deployment scenario for and coexistence with the 3G. So next we have flexibility of spectrum and deployment, interoperability with 3G and 2G networks. So here the LTE standards were designed as the completely new standard with the new numbering and new documentation. So and it is not built on the previous versions of the 3GPP standards. So here in the network architecture, unlike the 3G networks, so the LTE was designed to support the packet switch traffic with support for various QoS classes of services. So in the data rate and latency, so here the design target for the downlink and uplink peak data rates for the LTE are 100 Mbps and 50 Mbps respectively. So here when the operating at the 20 MHz frequency division duplex, that is FDD mode channel size. So here the user plane latency, which is defined in the terms of time. So it takes to transmit a small IP packet from the user equipment to the edge node of the radio access network, or vice versa measured on the IP layer. So in the third design principle is that is a performance requirement. So here the target performance requirement for the LTE, which are specified in the terms of spectrum efficiency, mobility, coverage, and are in the general expressed related to the 3GPP release of HSPA. So in that the first we have spectrum efficiency. So here the average downlink user data rate and spectrum efficiency target is 3 to 4 times that of the baseline HSDPA network. So in the mobility, so here the mobility requirement for the LTE is to be able to support the handoff or mobility at the different terminal speeds. So here the maximum performance is expected for the lower terminal speeds of 0 to 15 km per hour, with the minor degradation in the performance at higher mobile speeds up to 120 km per hour. So for the coverage, so here for the cell coverage, so the above performance target should be met up to 5 km. So here for the cell ranges up to 30 kilometer, a slight degradation of the user throughput is tolerated, and a more significant degradation of the spectrum efficiency is acceptable. But the mobility requirement should be met. So in the MBS service, so the LTE should also provide the enhancement support for the multimedia broadcast and multicast services, which is compared to the UTRA operation. So the fourth design principle was radio resource management. So here the radio resource management requirements cover the various aspects such as enhanced support for end-to-end QoS, efficient support for the transmission of higher layers, and support for the load sharing and balancing, policy management or enforcement across the different radio access technologies. So similarly, we have to explain the deployment scenario and coexistence with the 3G and flexibility of spectrum and deployment, and interoperability and interoperability with 3G and 2G networks also you need to explain. So second question we have write an need sketch end-to-end network architecture. So here we have to write the end-to-end network architecture diagram, and you need to explain the components of the end-to-end network architecture. So third question we have explain the hierarchical channel structure of the LTE. So here you need to write the hierarchical architecture diagram, and you have to explain the each blocks. So fifth question we have with a neat diagram explain the fourth question explain the different logical and transport channels supported in the LTE. So that will come under the hierarchical channel structure only. So here we have mainly three parts, that is logical channels, transport channels, and physical channels. So if they ask separately, we need to explain the different transport channels and logical channels which are supported in the LTE. So in the transport channels, we have downlink transport channels and uplink transport channels. So in the downlink transport channels, we have DLSCH, BCH, that is broadcast channels, multicast channels, and paging channels. So in the uplink transport channels, we have uplink shared channel, random access channel, and downlink control information, that is DCI, control form indication or indicator, and HIRQ indicator. So these are the transport channels. So for the logical channels, we have broadcast channels, that is a broadcast control channel, multicast control channel, paging control channel, common control channel, dedicated control channel, dedicated traffic channel, and multicast traffic channels. So briefly, you need to explain all the channels. So in the fifth question, we have with a neat diagram, we have to explain briefly the frame structures which are used in the LTE. So which are the two different frame structures? Can anyone tell? Don't know. So there are two types of frame structure, that is frame structure type 1 and type 2. So here frame structure type 1 is applicable for the FDD mode, and frame structure type 2 is applicable for TDD mode. So I have to explain structures with a neat diagram. So sixth question, we have a radio interface protocol stack. So we need to write the radio interface protocol stack diagram, and I have to explain the layers, and that is RCC, PDCP, RLC, and MAC and physical layer. So in the RLC we have three modes, that is transparent mode, acknowledgement mode, and unacknowledged mode. So you need to explain all the layers briefly. So seventh question, we have write the structure of downlink resource grid and explain the types of resource allocation. So for that you need to write the structure of the downlink resource grid. So here we have to types of the resource allocation. So here also we have two types of resource allocation, that is type 0 and type 1. So we have to write the structure of the downlink resource grid, and we have to explain the types of resource allocation. So next we have explain the uplink SDF, SCFDMA radio resources. So for that you need to write the structure of for the uplink resource grid, and you have to explain. So next we have 10th question, ninth question, we have briefly explain the downlink transport channel processing. So that is second part of the third module. So that is first concept. So here we have to explain the channel coding processing, and have to write the diagram, and I have to explain the channel coding processing. So next we have explain briefly the layer mapping and pre-coding in the modulation mapping. So here for that we have to write the layer mapping and pre-coding diagram, and I have to explain. So next we have what is multi-antenna transmission. So for that you need to explain what is multi-antenna transmission, and which are the different transmission modes which are used for the data transmission on the PDSH channel. So you need to explain, that is single antenna port, that is port 0, transmit diversity, open loop spatial multiplexing, closed loop spatial multiplexing, multi-user MIMO, closed loop rank 1 pre-coding, single antenna port. So you need to write all those things. So next we have explain the downlink control channel encoding and modulation in the DCI. So here I have to explain the downlink channel encoding modulation. That is down DCI formats. And next we have explained the broadcast and multicast channel. So here we need to write a short note on broadcast and multicast channels. So here we have explained the downlink physical signals. So for that we have to explain downlink reference signals. In that we have cell specific reference signals. Depending on the marks, you need to write the answers. On the last, we have HARQ in the downlink. So here you have to write example, that is an example of a 10 millisecond frame with 8 HARQ process, and you have to explain the working of HARQ in the downlink. So that is at the transmitter what will happen, at the receiver what is going to happen.